Yeah. Come in. Close the door behind you. Yeah, go ahead and lock it if you'd like. You know I prefer when it's quiet in here. No interruptions, just us and the sound of breathing. Good. Have a seat. Take whichever chair feels right today. You can put your bag there. No rush, just settle in. I can already tell by the way you're sitting that you're carrying a lot of tension again. Your shoulders are up, your hands are restless. It's okay. I'm not judging, just noticing. Take a moment, let them drop. Yeah, that's better. So, tell me, how has the week been treating you? Restless again? I thought so. You look like someone who hasn't really been able to slow down. There's a kind of buzzing in your posture. You know what I mean? Like your body wants to move even when your mind says stay still. That's usually a sign of something stored. Not necessarily bad, just energy that hasn't found a path yet. Let's start small. Take a breath in through your nose. Hold it. Now let it go slowly. There you go. Feel that small shift? Sometimes the simplest thing, like breathing, reminds the body that it's safe to rest. You don't need to fix everything in one session. We just observe. That's the first rule here. Observation without judgment. I'll take notes later. For now, just stay present with me. Notice your fingers, how they're unclenching. That's good. This space is about release, but not dramatic release. Gentle, quiet release. The kind that doesn't announce itself, but still leaves the room lighter when you leave. Okay, we'll explore where that energy's been getting stuck next. But for now, just breathe. That's all I want from you right now. Just breathe and stay. So, last time we talked about how your energy feels trapped, and I can see it's still sitting right there, just under your skin. I notice it when you shift your leg like that, the way you can't quite let it stay still. That's fine. Don't force it. It's not about stillness for the sake of discipline. It's about awareness. Just notice what happens in your body when I say the word calm. See? The breath catches a little, the shoulders lift again. That's okay. That tells us something. Your body has been trained to respond to stillness like it's a threat. Like if you stop moving, you'll lose momentum. But you won't, I promise. Sometimes slowing down is the only way to keep going. I want you to imagine, just for a second, that all that buzzing you feel is a current. Not anger, not frustration, just energy looking for direction. You don't have to fight it. You just have to guide it somewhere gentle. Maybe that's through breath, or through a walk later, or just by letting your shoulders fall again right now. Good. See how that feels? You can let out a sigh if it wants to come out. No, don't hold it back. That's it. Every exhale is a small release of pressure. Think of it as exhaling the static, the leftover noise from the week. I want you to practice that, not only here, but when you're alone. When you feel that jitter under your skin, try not to label it. Just breathe and let it drift away. That's the beginning of control, Not the kind that tightens, but the kind that opens.
You know, I've been thinking about something since our last session. The way you described that constant tension, like you're always bracing for something. I think part of it comes from believing that rest is weakness. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so. It's something I hear a lot, especially from people who carry themselves the way you do, steady on the outside, restless underneath. You mistake stillness for surrender, but it's not surrender, it's recalibration. You're letting your mind know that it's safe to pause. I want you to try something with me. Close your eyes for a moment. Just breathe in through your nose and let the air fill your chest completely. Now exhale slowly. Again, notice how your body tries to rush even this simple rhythm. It's always trying to get to the next thing. But right now, there is no next thing. Only this breath, this sound, this room. Nothing waiting outside that can wait a few minutes more. This is where you practice release. Not by pushing, not by clenching your will, but by allowing space. I know it feels strange, maybe even uncomfortable. That's good. It means you're moving in the right direction. Energy doesn't vanish when you rest. It redistributes. And that's what we're doing here, letting the tension rearrange itself until it no longer feels like a burden. When you're ready, open your eyes again. There you are, calmer already, even if you don't see it yet. All right, before we go any further, I want you to take another breath, slower this time. Yeah, that's good. Now tell me, what's been happening when you try to slow down on your own? Mm-hmm. You feel that sudden spike again? That urge to move or distract yourself? That's perfectly normal. When we've been running on alert for too long, quiet can sound like danger. So your body starts to fill the silence with noise just to feel safe. What we're learning here is to make peace with the quiet. I know it's uncomfortable. I can see it in the way your fingers twitch. Don't fight it, just notice it. Good. That's the first step. Noticing without judgment. You can even tell yourself, this is only energy. It's allowed to move. And when you do that, it softens. Try another breath now. In through the nose, hold it for 4, and out through the mouth. Yes, exactly. Each time you exhale, you remind your body that it doesn't have to stay guarded. Tension is just a habit. The same way we build muscles by repetition, we can build calm by repetition too. So every breath is a small repetition of safety. Keep that idea somewhere in your mind this week. When you catch yourself clenching or pacing, don't correct it harshly. Just pause and breathe once. One breath is sometimes enough to reset the whole pattern. That's the work we're doing. Nothing dramatic, nothing forced, just quiet discipline that teaches your body what peace feels like. You mentioned earlier that the nights are the hardest. That makes sense. The body tries to settle, but the mind hasn't finished its race yet. So it loops, replaying tasks, words, worries. I want you to practice something simple before bed tonight. Sit at the edge of the bed, feet on the floor, and place one hand on your chest and one on your stomach. Close your eyes and listen to your own breathing. Don't change it at first, just listen. You'll probably notice that it's shallow at the start, sitting high in the chest. That's all right. After a minute, see if you can send the breath lower so the hand on your stomach starts to rise instead. Slow, deliberate. That's it. You don't have to count. Just feel it stretch and release. You might feel silly doing it. That's fine. I'd rather you feel silly and calm than proud and restless. The breath is how we teach the nervous system that the day is over. When you finish, whisper something kind to yourself, anything gentle, even if it feels awkward. Words have weight, and your body listens to them. If you tell it, we're safe, eventually it believes you. Small, consistent reassurance builds real rest. That's your homework for tonight. No pressure, just a quiet conversation between you and your breath. You're doing better than you think. I can already see the difference. The way you sit now, it's steadier, less guarded. That's progress, even if it feels subtle. Progress in this room is measured in small shifts, not grand epiphanies. Tell me, when you practiced that breathing last night, what did you notice? The mind wandered? Good. That's part of it. People think the goal is to stop thoughts, but really it's to notice them and return without punishment. Every return is a repetition of calm. Remember? I want you to start noticing how your body reacts to everyday stress too. When someone interrupts you, when a message pings, when a plan changes. Watch where the tension goes first. Shoulders, jaw, hands. That's the place you breathe into next time. The body speaks in patterns, and once you learn its language, you can respond before it shouts. That's regulation. That's control without force. You can keep a small note in your phone. Write one line each time you notice it. Something like, felt it in my jaw today. Breathed once, softer now. Doesn't need to be poetic, just real. Those notes become proof later that you're learning how to listen inward. And listening inward is the most reliable way to quiet the noise outside. So today, let's spend the last few minutes doing exactly that. 3 breaths. In, hold, out. Again, and again. That's the rhythm of calm returning. You said this week felt heavier again? That's all right. It happens when old habits start testing the new calm we've been building. The mind doesn't like losing control of its favorite patterns. It tries to pull you back into the familiar rush, the constant need to do, fix, prove. I want you to notice when that starts. Maybe it's in the morning before the first message. Maybe it's right after dinner when you finally sit down.
That low hum under the skin that says, move, hurry, tighten. When you catch it, don't fight it head on. Just pause, breathe once, whisper to yourself, we're not in danger right now. That sentence is simple, but it changes everything. Your nervous system hears it and softens a little. If the tension doesn't leave, that's fine too. Imagine it like weather passing through, not an enemy to defeat. Every cloud drifts eventually if you stop chasing it. I want you to picture that tension as a coil that slowly unwinds each time you breathe out. Not collapsing, just loosening. That's strength, not weakness. Discipline that includes rest is harder than endless motion. Remember that. You can keep living with intensity, but it should serve you, not own you. Each exhale is a quiet reminder that you're still in charge. Now breathe again. Good. Feel how the body begins to trust the pause. That's how stress starts to lose its grip. Let's build on that. Think of stress as a current, not a wall. If you push against it, it doubles its force. But if you step with it for a moment, it carries you forward, then lets you go. This week, when that surge hits, try to guide it instead of blocking it. Channel it into something small and physical. Stretch your hands, roll your shoulders. Take one deliberate breath before you respond to anything. These micropauses train your mind to recognize space where it used to see only pressure. Over time, the body begins to choose calm automatically. It's practice, that's all. Like teaching a new language to your nerves. And remember, you don't have to earn rest by exhausting yourself first. Rest is maintenance, not reward. Say that out loud if you have to. I know it sounds strange at first, but words plant habits. Every time you remind yourself that calm is allowed, the stress loses authority. Sometimes you'll forget, and that's fine. The goal isn't perfection, it's noticing sooner. Even a 2-second awareness before the spiral begins is progress. You're learning to pause in real time, and that's huge. So when you leave today, I want you to walk a little slower, breathe a little deeper, and notice the world without rushing to fix it. That's the assignment. Nothing to prove, only to feel. Before we close today, I want to show you something simple you can do anywhere. Take your right hand, place it over the center of your chest. Not too firm, just enough to feel warmth through the fabric. Now breathe in through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 2, and let it go for 6. Again, good. Notice how the longer exhale feels heavier, almost grounding. That's your parasympathetic system waking up, the part that tells your body you're safe. You can use this anytime the pulse rises or thoughts race. Meetings, traffic, late at night. It's invisible to anyone else, but it works. That's your private reset button. Remember, stress isn't a flaw, it's information. It tells you where you've been overgiving your energy. Instead of judging it, thank it for the message and release it with breath. One breath, then another, until your mind quiets enough to think clearly again. These tiny rituals, repeated, become instinct. They rebuild trust between your body and your thoughts. So as you leave today, keep that hand-to-heart technique ready. It's the simplest reminder that calm lives right here, always within reach. Breathe once more before you stand. There you go. Lighter already.
All right, let's pick up from that calm you found last time. You remember what we practiced? The hand over the heart, the slow exhale, the idea that calm isn't something you chase, but something you allow. Good. I want you to build on that now. We've talked about observation, about letting stress pass through without wrestling it. Today, I want you to look at the thoughts underneath it. Not the surface ones about work or noise, but the quieter sentences that live under them. The ones that say, I can't stop, or I have to handle this alone. Those are the real sources of pressure. Not the deadlines, not the people, but those private rules you keep repeating to yourself. When you hear one of them, pause and ask, is that true or just familiar? Most of the time, it's just habit dressed up as necessity. Break the sentence and the tension follows. That's why this isn't only about breath, it's about language too. The mind listens to what you whisper when no one's around. So start whispering gentler things. I can pause. I'm allowed to rest. Nothing will collapse if I breathe first. It sounds small, but that's how new wiring starts. Breath, word, awareness, repetition. These are the building blocks of peace. Keep them close this week, and every time the rush returns, use one of those phrases like a switch to turn down the volume. Trust me, it works. Let's try something different today. Imagine your stress as a pattern of sound. Every worry, every task, every unfinished thought forming a kind of low static hum in the background. Most days, you don't notice it until it's loud enough to drown everything else. Now, picture yourself turning an invisible dial just one notch lower. Not off, just softer. Can you feel that tiny bit of space it creates? That's where calm begins, not in silence, but in the space between noise. When you practice this often, you start hearing life differently. Conversations slow down, your reactions lengthen, you choose instead of react. That's what we mean by regulation. You're not suppressing anything, you're adjusting the volume so your own voice can come through. I want you to keep that image with you. The dial, the control, the idea that you always have access to that knob even in chaos. It's a way to remember you're never at the mercy of stress entirely. Some days, the dial won't move much, but even one notch lower is a victory. Progress isn't silence, it's gentler noise. So next time something pushes your buttons, try to listen before you answer. Breathe once and imagine that dial between your fingers. Turn it slightly. That's all it takes to remind yourself that calm is an active choice, not an accident.
You've been consistent. I can tell. The rhythm of your breathing has changed since we started these sessions. Slower at the beginning, steadier when you talk. That's real progress, even if it doesn't feel dramatic. Calm isn't an explosion, it's a quiet reordering. I want to introduce one more practice now, a check in at the middle of your day. Set a reminder if you have to. When it goes off, stop whatever you're doing, even for 10 seconds. Scan from your forehead down to your chest. See where the tightness lives. Don't fix it yet, just notice. Then take one deep breath into that spot and exhale through the mouth like you're letting steam out of a valve. If people are around, you can do it quietly. No one will notice. That's your midday reset. It teaches your body that calm isn't something you wait for at night. It's something you create in moments. If you do this often, you start catching stress before it builds. Prevention instead of recovery. That's maturity. That's balance. And remember, even when the day doesn't go right, you can end it the same way, with one deliberate breath, one quiet exhale, one small surrender to peace. That's all the proof you need that you're improving. Little moments repeated until calm feels natural again.
You know what I've noticed lately? Every time we touch the subject of control, your posture changes, your shoulders tighten, your breath shortens. Even now, see, your hands just moved, like you're bracing again. That tells me something important. You equate calm with vulnerability, and vulnerability still feels unsafe. I'm not criticizing you for it, it's a survival habit, but it's keeping you in a constant fight with yourself. I can feel you thinking right now, trying to find the right response, the logical one that makes you sound composed. You don't have to do that here. Silence counts as an answer too. Just breathe and let me do the talking for a minute. The truth is, control has served you well in many ways, but it's also started to cage you, and I think you know that. The moment you start relaxing, you pull yourself back, like you're afraid to see what happens if you actually let go. Maybe it's emptiness you're scared of, or the feeling of not steering everything. But calm doesn't erase you, it just removes the noise so you can hear yourself again. What if, for once, you trusted that nothing will collapse if you soften? Just imagine that, not as a command, but as an experiment. Breathe once for that thought. Let the air move in slow and leave slower. That's what surrender can sound like. Not defeat, just quiet honesty. Stay there for a moment. You're doing fine.
I want to talk about strength because I think that's where your misunderstanding begins. Somewhere along the line, you learned that strength means holding everything together by force, that the tighter you grip, the safer you are. But real strength looks different. It's the ability to release tension without fear of falling apart. Think about all the times you've been exhausted but refused to rest because resting felt like failure. That's not strength, that's survival on loop. I'm asking you to consider another version, strength as balance. When you exhale, when you loosen your shoulders, when you admit that you're tired, that's not weakness, it's awareness. Awareness that allows renewal. The world doesn't reward stillness loudly, so people forget it's powerful. But you've seen glimpses of it, haven't you? Those rare moments when you pause long enough to feel your heartbeat slow, your jaw unclench, your thoughts clear just a little. That strength revealing itself quietly. I want you to chase more of that, not through effort, but through allowance. This week, whenever you catch yourself forcing things, say out loud, I'm allowed to stop for a moment. The sentence will feel foreign, maybe even rebellious, but keep saying it. Repetition builds truth, and eventually your body will start believing you again because it's been waiting to.
You know, sometimes I sit here after sessions and think about how hard it is for people to just breathe. It sounds so simple, right? One inhale, one exhale, a rhythm older than thought itself. Yet somehow it's the hardest thing to trust. Maybe that's because breathing means letting go of control for a moment, and most of us don't know how to do that without guilt. I've watched you fight that same battle since the first day you walked in. This quiet war between your mind and your body. And every week I see small victories. Shoulders lowering, pulse slowing, words arriving slower, softer. That's progress. You don't see because you're inside it. I see it though, and I want you to know it's real. You're learning to meet yourself halfway, to give permission to rest. I won't lie, it's not easy work. Calm never is, but it's honest work, and that's why it lasts. Take another breath now. Fill the lungs fully, hold it just a heartbeat longer than usual, and release. Good. That pause between the breath in and the breath out, that's where peace hides. It doesn't shout, it waits. Remember that next time you forget what calm feels like. You can always find it in the pause. I want to tell you something that maybe therapists aren't supposed to say. Sometimes I struggle with the same things I ask you to practice. I know what stress feels like sitting behind the ribs, that quiet pressure that whispers, you have to keep going. There are days I give advice I forget to follow. But that's why I believe in this work so much, because it's not about perfection, it's about remembering. Every time I remind you to breathe, I'm reminding myself too. We're both learning how to return to balance without punishing ourselves for drifting. The difference is, I've just practiced it longer. So when I sound firm, it's not authority, it's experience trying to guide you away from the same walls I've hit before. If you ever feel frustrated that calm doesn't stay, know that it doesn't stay for me either. It comes and goes, and that's okay. Peace isn't a place you live in, it's a moment you visit often until it feels familiar enough to stay longer. That's what we're building here, a habit of returning. So when you leave today, don't aim to stay calm forever, just aim to return faster each time. That's mastery. There's something I've wanted you to understand from the beginning. All this tension, all this holding, it isn't just stress. It's proof that you care deeply. You carry things because you want them to go right. You hold yourself tight because you believe responsibility keeps you safe. There's beauty in that kind of intention, but it becomes heavy when it never rests. Strength without softness eventually turns brittle. I need you to start trusting softness again. It won't make you weak, it will make you human. Try this with me now. Close your eyes and think of one moment this week when you felt proud, even for something small. Maybe it was finishing a task. Maybe it was just stopping before you said something you'd regret. Hold that feeling for a breath. Let it sit in your chest instead of racing past it. That's balance, the coexistence of pride and peace. You can carry both at once. I want you to remember that next time the world demands too much of you. You can pause, breathe, and still be strong. The two are not enemies, they're twins sharing the same breath. Keep that image with you because that's where your calm begins and where it always waits to be found again. Tell me, what happened right before the tension arrived? Mm-hmm. You see how quick that shift is? That's the moment we're practicing for. The half second between the thought and the reaction. It's small, but it's everything. That's the doorway where choice lives. Next time you feel that rise in your chest, I want you to imagine the same pause we've been building here. The space between the inhale and the exhale. That pause belongs to you, no one else. People can bring stress to your door, but they can't cross that threshold unless you open it. Remember that. You own the breath, you own the pause. I want you to practice this everywhere. On the train, during a meeting, while you're washing dishes. Tiny rehearsals of calm so that it's waiting for you when real storms come. You don't need a quiet room to access peace. You just need permission. And you can give that permission yourself. Say quietly, "This is mine." That's how control turns into confidence instead of pressure. It's all the same skill, just used differently. The world will always test your calm, but you don't have to pass every test. You only have to return. You're beginning to understand how energy moves. I can see it. The restlessness that used to fill this room feels softer now. That's because you've learned to circulate what once stayed trapped. Energy, attention, focus, they all need direction or they turn into noise. The mistake most people make is trying to crush the noise instead of guiding it. You've stopped crushing, and that's progress. What I want you to try now is redirection. When tension builds, channel it into movement that isn't about escape, but expression. Walk, stretch, write, breathe. It doesn't matter what, as long as it carries the charge somewhere safe. Even 5 minutes can change your entire rhythm. Think of it like clearing static from the line, so communication between your mind and body stays open. The goal isn't to stay calm forever, it's to keep the connection clear enough that you notice when you drift. Drift is natural, denial isn't. Awareness lets you steer back without force. When you feel that rush next time, smile at it, acknowledge it, move with it, then release it. That's mastery. Flow replacing fight. That's balance finding its way home again. Before we close today,
I want to show you how to finish a stressful day properly. Sit just like you are now, feet grounded, hands resting easy. Breathe in deeply, hold for 3, let it go for 6. Again, slower. Now picture every hour of the day as a layer of dust on your skin. With each exhale, that dust lifts and falls away. You don't have to relive the hours to release them. You just have to breathe through them. If thoughts return, let them, but don't invite them to stay. Every thought is a guest. You choose who lingers. Tonight, when you go home, try this before bed. Lights dim, phone away, one slow breath for every loud thought, and imagine yourself lighter with each one. You'll feel your shoulders sink first, then your jaw, then the small muscles around your eyes. That's your body remembering rest. It always remembers if you give it a chance. This is how you end the day, not by forcing quiet, but by letting noise fade on its own. Peace isn't earned, it's allowed. Give yourself that allowance tonight and notice how different sleep feels when you stop fighting for it. That's your final breath for the day, the gentle one that tells your body it's safe again. Before we begin the next exercise, I want you to take a minute and think about the day that brought you here. Every conversation, every screen, every tiny decision that tugged at your attention. Just picture them as threads, hundreds of them, crossing through your body. Now, with each breath, imagine gathering those threads back into your hands, one by one. Inhale, gather. Exhale, loosen. It's a way of telling yourself that the day is over and you get to return to your own rhythm. You've been pulled outward for hours. This is the moment to come back inward. Notice how the air feels heavier in this room than it did outside, how sound softens when you let silence breathe between words. That's the body switching states, moving from doing to being. Tonight, before sleep, repeat this pattern. Sit, breathe, gather, loosen, until your mind starts to hum instead of buzz. That hum is rest arriving. It's quiet but strong, like the ocean under a calm surface. Let your hands rest in your lap now, unclenched. Feel the pulse there, the proof that you don't have to chase life. It's already moving through you. One more breath, slow and full. Good. Remember, this is not escape. This is maintenance. The nervous system needs these small resets the way lungs need air. Keep giving them freely. Let's go deeper into that nightly practice. When you lie down, I want you to scan yourself from the crown of your head down to your toes. Don't rush. Imagine a soft light tracing every inch, noticing where tension hides. Most people stop at the obvious spots, shoulders, neck, but it hides in quieter places too. The corners of the eyes, the palms, the ankles that never stop holding weight. Breathe into each place you find tightness and let the light travel onward. By the time it reaches your feet, you'll feel a slow warmth spreading through you. That's your body saying thank you for paying attention. If thoughts intrude, acknowledge them and let them float away with the exhale. No judgment, no story, just air leaving the lungs. That's what real release feels like. Not dramatic, not loud, just gradual unburdening. Sometimes tears come, sometimes nothing happens. Both are fine. The point is awareness. Awareness always precedes healing. After the scan, place a hand over your chest again and listen for the heartbeat's rhythm against the pillow. Steady, dependable, unchanged by noise. That's the reminder that calm has never left. It's just been waiting beneath the surface, patient as breath itself. You've reached a point where the exercises start to blend into life itself. That's the goal. Calm that follows you instead of calm you have to chase. But before we move to the final stage, I want you to design a small ritual of your own. Something simple that marks the line between stress and rest. Maybe it's a cup of tea, a brief stretch, a few words you whisper to yourself, "I'm home now." Even if you're still at your desk. The form doesn't matter, the repetition does. Rituals teach the body when to release. Each time you repeat it, you carve a new path in your mind that leads back to peace faster. Think of it as building a doorway you can step through anytime. We can't remove tension from life, but we can create exits from it. That's what this entire process has been, teaching you where the exits are and trusting you to walk through them without waiting for permission. So tonight, when the noise returns, use your ritual. Take one deep breath and remind yourself, "I've been here before, and I know the way out." That's the sound of mastery, quiet and certain. That's you becoming your own calm. You've learned most of what I can teach you here. The rest of the work happens out there, in the noise and the pressure, and the long days that keep trying to steal your breath. I want you to start trusting yourself to use these pauses without me prompting you. When the pulse climbs or the mind starts spinning, stop where you are and breathe exactly the way we've practiced. Not shallow, not forced. Full, steady, patient. Remember that release isn't about removing stress. It's about letting it move through you so it doesn't stay trapped. Tension is only energy that's forgotten where to go. Give it direction. Out with the exhale. Down through the soles of your feet into the ground. Let gravity help you carry it. You don't have to be calm all the time. You only have to remember how to return. That's real strength. If you can pause in the middle of chaos and still find that single slow breath, you're already winning. It doesn't have to look perfect, it just has to happen. Practice that tonight. The body will remember faster each time. All right, take one last deep breath here with me. In, hold, out. Good. That's all the reminder you'll need later. Tonight, when you get home, keep the lights low, sit somewhere quiet, and just breathe until the day fades out of your shoulders.
Don't chase calm. Let it arrive on its own. Feel how the air enters, expands, leaves. That's the most natural release you'll ever have. It's the body saying, I'm still here, still working, still enough. Stress will come back. Of course it will. But now you know what to do when it does. You'll meet it with breath instead of panic, with patience instead of pressure. That's the difference between surviving and living. You've earned that difference. So go home, let the world keep spinning, and find your own still point inside it. Remember, release isn't losing control. It's letting life flow through you without getting stuck. Keep breathing, keep moving, and when you forget, just start again. That's all calm really is, starting again.